How you doing? Mr. DJ back on the countdown. Fancy playlist of August 29th, 1987. At number 13, up 5 notches from number 18, Whitney Houston. Didn't we almost have it all? Wasn't fond of this record. Never liked these mainstream slow records. They just put me to sleep. But in light of what's happened to Whitney Houston since then, her drug problems, her singing voice been ravaged by her drug problems. The last video I saw by Whitney Houston was in 2008, 2009, and you could tell it was just, well, it wasn't up to where she was back in the 80s. And of course her death. Whitney Houston could do no wrong back in the 80s. From about 1985 through 1988, she was on a roll. Had about 6 or 7 number one consecutive hits. Whitney Houston off the Arista record label, Didn't We Almost Have It All, debuted at number 41 on Billboard. It went to number 1 in 6 weeks. Written by a guy named Michael Masser and Will Jennings. I believe it was Will Jennings who was the other fellow who wrote the record. Let me double check and make sure. Yeah, Will Jennings. Michael Masser, a massive songwriter back in the 70s and 80s. He was inducted into the Songwriting Hall of Fame in 2007. First hit record that Michael Masser wrote. He wrote it with Ron Miller. Touch Me in the Morning by Diana Ross. Big hit back in the summer 1973. A couple of years later, along with Jerry Goffin, Carole King's old songwriting sidekick. Michael Masser and Jerry Goffin would write, can't talk, it's 2 or 3 in the morning. They wrote Theme for Mahogany. Number 1 for Diana Ross, winner of 75 and 76. Inducted, well, I've already mentioned the Songwriter Hall of Fame part. Tonight, I Celebrate My Love. Peebo Bryson and Roberta Flack, remember that? Back in 1983? Written by Michael Masser, co-written by Michael Masser. He also co-wrote the song Greatest Love of All. Some critics did consider Didn't We Almost Have It All as overblown. Just a schmaltzy love record. But it was one of Whitney Houston's most successful records. Now, video was not put out on this record. Instead, a live performance was recording, and this was when Whitney Houston was on tour in 1987-88, a very successful tour. It was called the Moment of Truth World Tour. Whitney Houston at number 13, Didn't We Almost Have It All?